Ah, yes, my favorite part of working on cars: grinding, grinding, more grinding, and follow that by more grinding. Oh, yeah. Feel the burn. Oh, yeah. Feel the burn. Let's go. We're just kind of getting started here with some welding on this thing. Doing the outer rocker. Well, I guess it's the inner rocker structure technically. This is normally sold now as a complete rocker front to back. I believe I bought one of the last sets of it's more or less a patch panel where you have your mounting section for your the lower part of your fender. This ended up being part of a really late night too. I have a really bad habit. I mean, I think a lot of us are probably like that, but I kind of get going on it, and then I just can't stop. All of a sudden, look at the clock, and it's really late at night. But hey, turned around, got a bunch of stuff done, so it was a good time. Can't say I'd do it any other way. One thing I think is worth pointing out, though, after getting this car all apart and whatnot, I never really looked at the firewall much when I bought it. You kind of just take that for granted, I think, and boy, was that a mistake. Make sure you look at the firewall before you buy a car. Well, I felt like the day would never come, but the front end is finally basically all solid, except for the dash pad part. I gotta finish that tomorrow, but it's 4 o'clock in the morning, so screw it, I've had enough for today. Just gotta grind it all down. Still gotta do the inside of the floor pan here, but yeah, one piece floor, firewall, all this crap obviously is going to be new. So just getting ready to finish the last little bit on the front end here, which is the top dash pad part. You can't see it right now because I pulled it off already, but I put the dash pad in so then everything lines up so you don't screw yourself. And a little thing I like to do, everyone likes to do it their own way, whatever, a million ways to go about this. I'll always kind of start in the middle and work my way out, just because the heat expands, it's making everything move. So if you weld here and then put a bunch of heat in it, weld the end, and then try and work your way towards the middle, sometimes you can have a bit of a warping issue. That's just me, though. 10 people might disagree, but that's what works for me. But now that that's all finished up here, I said you got to see all the welding here. Lots of grinding. That'll be last. After I grind, basically from here on out, I'm going to do the rest of the car. And then once all the welding's done, grind everything, prime it all at once instead of coming back. Because if I grind it now, I'm going to have to come back, do it later. Don't want to mess around with that. As I said, hopefully the roof turns out to be pretty decent. That's a lot of Bondo. But anyway, it's going to disappear. It's going to turn into all metal, which is pretty nice. I've already gone ahead. This quarter panel was done when I first bought the car, so that's been done for a while already. And going forward, the roof comes off. Hopefully it's going to be nice underneath, and the structure itself's not rusty. Fingers crossed. I don't know until I get there, but we'll see what happens. The tail panel has to get done as well. It's not horrible. The bottom part is rusty, so I'm going to do that. I went ahead and bought an RS tail panel, so I'm going to incorporate the backup tail lights. A lot of guys will, hate on it because, oh, it's not a real RS car. Oh my God, what are you doing? But I don't really care. I mean, that's just the direction I'm going. It already has the RS front end. I bought it like that. I mean, I'm not going to rip that off and put the factory style. Actually, I really like the RS front end on the 67.8 Camaro. Not so much of a fan on it on 69. I really don't know why. I think just that regular front end, like the regular grill, looks really good on those cars. But anyway, so I have the electric hideaway headlights, which is wicked. I pull the switch for the lights, boop, the lights, the doors open up. None of this vacuum stuff I have to worry about working or not working. So that part's pretty cool. So we're finally here. We got the front end of the Camaro all buttoned up, front to back. Well, I should say side to side, I guess, because technically it's more of a side thing. Got that done. Move on to the roof next. Got to replace the roof panel itself, but hopefully the inner structure is not toast, which I guess time will tell. We'll see what it looks like. One nice part with the RS tail panel, then at least I get my tail lights in, which go right about yeah. So that'll kind of complete the look, and no one's going to be able to really say, oh, it's totally fake, even though it kind of is. But that's our little secret, right? It's all good. No one needs to know, except for you. So don't tell anyone. Just kidding. I'm not really like that. I don't really go around. I'm not going to try and say, pass it off as what it isn't. You know, I'm very open. It's going to be telling everyone, yeah, it's a six-banger car, and now it's got something different. Who cares, right? I mean, your car, build it how you want. And I really don't want to go against what it already has anyway. I mean, it's already got the RS front end, so why am I going to go and change it? There's, you know, just be outrageous. Why would I do that? Not going to do it. Which is fine. So moving forward, you know, it'll look cool once it's all done. But one of the really nice things, I don't have the trim tag handy. Obviously, the serial number, the VIN, tells us that it is a six-cylinder car from the 123 instead of a 124, the first three digits, right? So the 3 is six-cylinder. The 4 would be V8 car, not telling you if it's a big block. And the nice thing with 67 Camaros that I appreciate, and one thing I am a big fan with the Mopar stuff, you know, which have trim tags and whatnot, or fender tags, I should say, so you can tell really what is what. And you know what you have. I really like documentation. Same with the Mustangs. You do a Marty report. Like I have a couple older Mustangs as well. First thing I always do, Marty report, because it's just really cool to have that documentation. But in 67, the trim tag at least decodes really the only options that the car would have had. So this car was just 2G, which stands for your center console, which is still here, and the only option the car had. Was a factory butternut yellow car, black standard interior. It still retains the black standard interior. It's probably going to stay that way. The butternut yellow, I'm not sure if I'm changing it or not yet. It is. I do like it, but I haven't decided. And we'll see what I end up deciding on. It's going to be a surprise one way or the other. Probably for me, too, because I really don't know until I get there. But, you know, so 4N would be or 4N, 4P, that's your big block, small block SS. 3L is your RS. So, I mean, a lot of times you can just go right up to where the VIN tag sits on these cars, which is right about here. And that's going to tell you what the options are, like I said. So it's cool to just, you know, especially if you're looking at one, you can go out and tell, right? If you get a 68 Camaro, there's nothing. There's no trim tag. There's no nothing. So unless you have some kind of a data plate or whatnot that came with the car, original paperwork, which good luck getting that anyway, you don't really know what it has. 69, we have the X code cars. So you got X1122 right up to 77, which would be your your Z28. So X33, X77 is your Z28s. X11 is non-SS, could be SS car, but something like 90% of the Camaros are non-SS cars. And all the X11 cars that I've owned over the years have always been non-SS cars. They do exist. They're very rare. X44, non-SS, guaranteed. X22 and 55 are your big block cars. So you can tell from those at least what you got, which is, again, it's nice to know. Very early 69 production, you're not going to see that. You get your LA cars as well. You're not going to have the X codes at all because that was only for the Norwood plants. So then you're kind of, you know, trying to hunt it down if it matters to you. And I mean, a lot of people don't. I mean, let's get real. There's a lot of these cars now you're seeing with very multiple six-figure price tags. You know, I mean, of course, let's not just talk Barrett Jackson or Meckham. But even private sales, there's tons of LS swapped, really nice done road cars that people are trying to ask, you know, 150, 200 plus thousand for, and they're totally, you know, I think well deserved. You know, you get the car that's got an LT4 swap. The swap alone is like 30 grand. You know, never mind all the paint, body, custom stuff, the front ends. I mean, I can go on and on with what it costs to put any of this together. And I'm sure most of us know that. So I've gone ahead and chopped out half of the tail panel. I'm kind of cheating so far. Just trying to, you know, get stuff out of the way to help. That's kind of a good way to go about it, in my opinion. But some people drill all spot welds and then pound it out. But I do little by little, so then it's a lot easier, too, when you're doing the tail panel here to get in here to snap all these spot welds off. I just use the air chisel, because I like to cheat, and that makes life a hell of a lot easier. If you got one, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't got one, go get one, because it's worth every penny. But got some progress there anyway. Gonna slide in our RS tail panel at some point. That's gonna look pretty cool in there once it's ready. But, you know, as the theme with this car of having oodles of rust continues, I kind of figured that this was, going to be a problem to begin with. And I guess this thing's got some kind of homemade patch panels going on in here on the floor. So they put some brass, or I don't know, it almost looks like copper plate. It's hard to tell right now. I haven't peeled it right apart. And then they literally took roofing tar, plastered over it. So I'm not even really sure how ugly it is, but it's solid. But is it solid and it's factory steel, or is it solid and it's loaded with little patch pieces all over the place?